Hey everyone, thinking about grabbing that Magic Bullet blender on Amazon. You know, that 11-piece set in silver black.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
It's calling your name right. But before you hit that buy now button, we're going to do a deep dive into the Magic Bullet world.
Did you make that decision?
Right. More than just looking at the specs, we're going to unpack customer insights and all those little details that can make a real difference.
You know, it's amazing to me what they pack into a single Amazon product page.
Right.
It's like a little microcosm of how we shop online now. You can see consumer trends, marketing tactics, all that stuff. Even a little cultural commentary, maybe.
Totally. So, okay, let's break it down. What exactly is this Magic Bullet promising? I see here they're saying it's more than just a blender. It chops, mixes, blends, whips, grinds. They even throw in a 10-second recipe guide to get you going.
I mean, clearly they're going for a certain audience, right?
Yeah.
People who want quick, easy solutions in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And they're really emphasizing how compact it is. Only 4.5 inches deep, 4 inches wide, and 11.8 inches tall.
That's tiny.
Tiny. Perfect if you're tight on counter space.
Yeah.
You know, like a small apartment or something.
And they really play up how easy it is to use.
Right, like anybody can use it.
Yeah. Twist, flip, and reverse.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Plus dishwasher-safe parts. I feel like they're really appealing to that desire for convenience. Like, who wants to spend hours cleaning up after making a smoothie?
Nobody.
Nobody. Exactly. But do actual users agree?
Well, that's where those customer reviews come in handy.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
So overall, it's got a pretty good rating, like a 4.4 out of 5 stars.
Okay, that's decent.
Yeah. But there are definitely some mixed opinions in there.
Okay, so lay it on me. What are the positives that people are saying?
A lot of people are raving about how easy it is to clean.
Which is huge.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Yeah.
They also love how small it is, which we already talked about, how straightforward it is to operate,
Makes
and that it's actually powerful enough for everyday stuff like smoothies.
a quick, easy smoothie in the morning. I mean, what more could you ask for?
It's a good way to start the day.
But I'm sure not all the reviews are glowing, right? There
Yeah.
gotta be some less than enthusiastic ones in the mix.
Of course, not everyone's going to love it.
Yeah.
Some folks found that the motor was a little weak for, like, tougher ingredients. You know, things like nuts or frozen fruit.
Ah.
And there's some comments about the blending not always being consistent.
Like sometimes smooth, sometimes not.
Exactly. And a few people mentioned worrying about how long it would hold up, durability-wise.
Yeah, I guess that's the classic dilemma. Do you go for the more affordable option
Or do you invest in something
yeah, something more robust?
that might cost a little bit more?
Well, speaking of cost, the price on this is pretty tempting right now.
Not bad.
$39.88, and it says that's 20% off the list price of $49.99.
So definitely budget-friendly,
Definitely.
especially if you're an Amazon Prime member.
Oh yeah, free shipping.
You get that free, speedy delivery.
So if you're like, I need a blender right now.
Or you need a last-minute gift or something.
Exactly, very tempting.
That Prime shipping is pretty great.
And I see they're trying to appeal to the eco-conscious shopper too.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It says the product ships in its original packaging to reduce waste.
Oh, that's cool. A little detail, but some people appreciate that.
Definitely. And they mention a 1-year limited warranty from the manufacturer.
Standard.
Yeah, pretty standard. Plus, there's the option to buy an extended warranty from Assyrian.
If you want that extra peace of mind.
Exactly. But let's not forget about the competition, right?
Yeah.
The Amazon page actually compares the Magic Bullet to a bunch of different NutriBullet models.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So they're acknowledging the competition, but also highlighting what makes the Magic Bullet unique.
Yeah, like here's how we're different. Here's why we might be a better choice for you.
Right.
Eh.
Mainly the price and the simplicity.
So it's like, choose your fighter, Magic Bullet or NutriBullet.
I like that.
Right. Based on all this info, it seems like the Magic Bullet is kind of like the entry-level option.
Yeah, if you're a casual user with basic needs, this could be perfect for you.
Yeah. While those NutriBullets, they're often more powerful and have bigger capacities, but you're going to pay more for that.
Right, you're paying for the extra features.
Exactly. All right, so the Magic Bullet seems great if you just need a basic, reliable blender for everyday stuff.
Smoothies, dips, sauces, that kind of thing.
Right. But maybe not for those who are really serious about their smoothies.
Yeah, if you're blending up big batches or working with really tough ingredients, it might not be the best choice.
You might need something a little more heavy duty.
Right. But those average ratings, they only tell part of the story.
They do, yeah.
To really understand this thing, we got to dig into those individual customer reviews.
You're right. The real magic's in the details.
Exactly.
So let's get into those real-life experiences. What are people actually saying about the Magic Bullet?
Okay, so one reviewer, they were totally gushing about how perfect it was for their RV.
Their RV.
Yeah, they loved how lightweight and compact it was.
Oh, that makes sense. Space is at a premium in an RV.
For sure.
So they didn't have to sacrifice functionality just because they had limited space?
They still got their smoothies, just in a smaller package. And then another customer, they were talking about how they use it for everything. Smoothies, pancake batter.
Whoa, pancake batter too?
You name it. I thought that was pretty impressive.
It's like a little workhorse.
Right. It's not just one-trick pony.
So it's kind of like a gateway appliance?
What do you mean?
Like it gets you into the world of blending without having to commit to a big, expensive machine.
I like that analogy. A gateway appliance. And for a lot of people, that's all they need.
Right.
They want to try out smoothies, maybe whip up a quick sauce, but they don't need a top-of-the-line blender.
It's like dipping your toes into the blending pool before diving headfirst.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can't ignore those less enthusiastic reviews either, can we? Like that customer who had motor issues. That brings up the question of durability again.
Yeah, is this thing built to last? That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people seem to love how convenient it is, but a good number also mentioned problems with the motor burning out or parts breaking after just a few months.
Oh, no.
So it might be a case of, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you trade off a little bit of longevity for affordability and convenience.
Possibly. And this brings us back to that comparison with the NutriBullet.
Okay, how so?
Well, NutriBullets are often marketed as being super durable with these powerful motors,
Right.
but they usually cost more too.
So it's all about prioritizing what's important to you.
Exactly. It's fascinating how these two brands have kind of carved out their own spaces in the blender world.
Yeah.
You've got the Magic Bullet for those casual, budget-conscious users,
Mhm.
and then the NutriBullet for those who are serious about their blending and want something that's going to last. But let's get back to those customer stories.
Yeah. What other interesting tidbits did you find?
One thing that kept popping up was this inconsistency in how well it blends things.
Really?
Yeah, some reviewers raved about getting perfectly smooth smoothies, but others were complaining about chunks and, uneven textures.
Interesting.
So it seems like how well the Magic Bullet performs might depend on the specific ingredients you're using and how you're using it.
So maybe it's not a set it and forget it kind of appliance. It requires a little finesse.
A little trial and error, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Which is important for potential buyers to know.
Right. If you're expecting perfectly blended results every single time without having to put in any effort, you might be disappointed.
Yeah. All right, so we've got this interesting tension here.
Between what?
Affordability, convenience, durability, and performance.
Right. It's a lot to consider.
It is. So how do we help our listener weigh all these factors?
Well, I think it boils down to aligning your expectations with reality.
Okay, what do you mean?
The Magic Bullet is a popular appliance, no doubt. It's
Yeah.
convenient, it's affordable, it's compact, it's pretty easy to use. But it's not a miracle worker.
Meaning it's not going to transform your kitchen into a professional smoothie bar overnight.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's totally fine. It's designed for a specific purpose. Quick, simple blending tasks for individuals or smaller households.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for, it could be a great purchase. But if you need a heavy-duty blender, something that can pulverize anything you throw at it, you might want to consider investing in something else.
A higher-end model.
Right. And even within that target demographic, people who just want something simple and affordable,
Yeah.
there are going to be those who love it and those who are disappointed.
Right.
It's all about understanding the nuances,
Totally.
the trade-offs, the individual experiences that shape those opinions.
I see what you're saying. So what are those individual experiences telling us? What are some common themes that you're seeing in those customer anecdotes?
One thing that comes up a lot is that the Magic Bullet is perfect for people who are new to blending
Okay. Yep.
or who just want something simple and straightforward for basic tasks. It's quick, it's easy to clean, it doesn't take up much counter space.
So it's like the starter pack of the blending world.
I like that. The starter pack.
Right. It gets you in the door without overwhelming you with all these fancy features.
And for a lot of people, that's all they need. They just want a quick smoothie in the morning, a simple sauce for dinner. They're not trying to create culinary masterpieces. But for those who are more adventurous in the kitchen, who want to experiment with tougher ingredients or larger batches, the Magic Bullet might not be up to the task.
Yeah, those are the folks who might need to step up to a more powerful blender.
Right, exactly. And that's where those concerns about power and durability become more important.
Yeah.
If you're planning on crushing ice every day or blending thick nut butters, You might want something more robust.
It's all about choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
Knowing the limitations of the Magic Bullet and how they line up with what you need and expect from it. But there's one crucial thing we haven't fully talked about yet. The price.
Ah, yes, the bottom line.
The Magic Bullet is often touted as the budget-friendly option. But is it really a bargain?
That's a great question. I mean, we can't just look at the sticker price, right?
I know.
We got to consider the value proposition, the long-term costs, the possibility that you might need to replace it sooner than you'd like.
And that's where those concerns about durability come back into play. If the Magic Bullet only lasts a year or two, is it actually a good deal?
You're hitting on a really important point. It's a complex calculation.
Yeah.
We have to factor in not just the initial price, but also the potential for repairs or replacements down the road.
It's like comparing a cheap disposable lighter to a more expensive refillable one.
Perfect analogy.
Right.
Right.
And that's where those extended warranties become an interesting option.
Tell me more.
For a relatively small amount up front, you can protect yourself against those potential breakdowns and potentially extend the life of your appliance.
Yeah, like an insurance policy for your blender.
Exactly. Peace of mind in exchange for a few extra bucks.
Not a bad deal.
It's amazing to me how something as seemingly simple as a blender can involve such complicated decision-making.
I know, right?
We've gone from basic specs to marketing strategies to people's personal experiences to financial considerations.
It's a whole world in there.
It is.
And we're not even done yet.
I know. It's a deep dive for a reason. But for now, we're going to take a little pause. We'll pick this thread back up in the final part of our deep dive.
Can't wait.
We'll explore those lingering questions about price, value, and why the Magic Bullet is still so popular after all these years.
Sounds good.
All right, so we've got all this information about the Magic Bullet. Specs, features, reviews. How do we make sense of it all? What should our listeners really be taking away from all of this?
Let's go back to that reviewer who loved it for their RV. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
It shows there's a specific use case for this thing. People who need to save space, but still want a blender.
Yeah, they don't want to sacrifice functionality for portability. They're downsizing their kitchen, but not their smoothies.
Exactly. And I think that speaks to how they're marketing the Magic Bullet. They're not just selling a blender, they're selling a solution.
Like a lifestyle choice, almost.
Yeah, exactly. It's for a certain way of living.
Okay, so we've got the RV enthusiast. What about that customer who used it for everything? Smoothies, pancake batter, you name it.
Right. It's surprising how versatile this little thing is.
Yeah, more than just single-serving smoothies.
Right. It can handle different tasks, just on a smaller scale.
Maybe it's like a gateway appliance. It lets you try out blending without committing to a big, expensive machine.
I like that. A gateway appliance. And for a lot of people, that's all they need. They want to experiment, make smoothies, dips, sauces, whatever, but they don't need something fancy.
Right, it's dipping your toes in the water before you go all in.
Exactly.
But we can't forget those negative reviews either, right? Like the person who had motor problems. Makes you wonder about the durability.
It does, yeah. Will this thing last? That's a big question. I mean, a lot of people love how convenient it is, but a good number of them also mention issues with the motor or parts breaking down after a few months of use.
So maybe it really is a case of you get what you pay for.
It could be. You trade some durability for the affordability and the convenience.
And that takes us back to the NutriBullet comparison.
Right. They often highlight how durable those are and how powerful the motors are.
But of course, you usually pay more for that.
It's about knowing what you're looking for. Do you need something that's going to last for years, or are you okay with replacing it sooner if you need to?
So interesting how these two brands have kind of found their own place in the market. Magic Bullet for the casual, budget-conscious user, and NutriBullet for those who want something more heavy-duty. But back to those customer stories. What else stood out to you?
One thing that kept coming up was that the blending wasn't always consistent. Some people were getting perfectly smooth smoothies, while others were getting chunks and uneven textures.
Sounds frustrating.
Yeah, it seems like how well the Magic Bullet performs might depend on what you're blending and how you're using it.
So maybe it's not just a set it and forget it kind of appliance.
Right, you might need to experiment a little to get the results you want.
Yeah, a little trial and error. It's good to know that going in.
Definitely. If you're expecting perfect results every time, you might be disappointed.
Right. Okay, so we've got this tension between affordability, convenience, durability, and performance.
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle.
It is. So how do we help our listener decide what to do?
I think it comes down to expectations.
Okay, what do you mean?
You have to be realistic about what the Magic Bullet can do. It's popular, it's convenient, it's affordable, it's easy to use, but it's not going to magically solve all your kitchen problems.
It's not going to turn you into a professional chef overnight.
Right. And that's okay. It's designed for quick, simple tasks for individuals or small households. If that's what you need, it could be a great choice. But if you're looking for a heavy-duty blender that can handle anything, you might need to look elsewhere.
Get something more powerful.
Exactly. And remember, even among people who just want a basic, affordable blender, there are going to be those who love the Magic Bullet and those who don't.
Right. Not everyone's going to have the same experience.
It's important to consider the nuances, the trade-offs, what people are saying about their own experiences.
So what are people saying? What are some of the common themes in those reviews?
One thing I see a lot is that people love it for its simplicity.
Okay, like it's easy to use.
Exactly. It's great for people who are new to blending or who just want something that's quick and easy to clean.
So you called it the starter pack earlier.
Right. It's like the first step into the world of blending.
It lets you get a feel for it without overwhelming you.
Exactly. And for many people, that's perfect. They just want a quick smoothie or a simple sauce. They're not trying to do anything too fancy. But if you're more adventurous in the kitchen, if you want to work with tougher ingredients or blend large quantities, the Magic Bullet might not be enough.
You'll need to upgrade to something with more power.
Right. And that's where those concerns about power and durability become really important. If you're planning on using it a lot for demanding tasks, you might want a more robust machine.
You've got to choose the right tool for the job.
Absolutely. And you have to be aware of the Magic Bullet's limitations and how those fit with your needs and expectations. But there's one last thing we need to talk about, and that's the price.
Yeah, we touched on that earlier. The Magic Bullet is often presented as the affordable option. But is it really a good value?
That's the question, isn't it? We can't just look at the initial price.
Right.
We have to think about the long-term costs, the possibility of needing to replace it sooner than you'd like.
And that brings up those durability concerns again. If it only lasts a year or two, is it really worth it?
It's a tricky calculation. We have to factor in not just the initial price, but also the potential cost of repairs or replacements down the line.
Like buying a cheap umbrella that breaks after a few uses versus investing in a sturdy one that will last for years.
Exactly. And that's where those extended warranties become interesting.
How so?
For a little bit of money up front, you can protect yourself against potential problems. You could potentially extend the life of your appliance.
Like insurance for your blender.
Yeah, exactly. You pay a little extra for peace of mind.
It's fascinating how much thought goes into buying something as simple as a blender.
It is, isn't it?
We've gone from specs and marketing to personal experiences and now financial considerations.
That's a whole process.
It is, and we're still not done. But we're going to take a break for now. We'll pick up this conversation in the final part of our deep dive, where we'll tackle those lingering questions about price, value, and why the Magic Bullet remains so popular.
Looking forward to it.
So we know the Magic Bullet isn't perfect, but it's still super popular.
Right, like ridiculously popular.
Over 40 million of these things have been sold.
Wow, that's a lot of blenders.
That's a ton.
Yeah.
So what do you think explains that?
I think for a lot of people, those big, powerful blenders are just too much.
They're overkill.
Total overkill.
Yes.
They don't need to crush ice for a party every night or make their own nut butters.
Right. They just want a simple smoothie or a quick salsa.
And the Magic Bullet does that perfectly.
It's all about finding the right tool for the job. And for a lot of folks, the Magic Bullet is it. It's affordable, small, easy to use.
Yeah, even if you've never used a blender before, you could figure this thing out.
And the marketing is really smart. They've positioned it as the solution for busy people.
Like, if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the gadgets in your kitchen, this is the answer.
But it's not just hype, right? There are real advantages to a simpler appliance.
Oh, yes.
You're more likely to make that smoothie if it's just a matter of throwing things in the Magic Bullet and pressing a button.
You don't have to drag out a huge blender, clean all the parts.
Exactly.
It takes all the hassle out of it.
So it makes healthy choices easier.
That's the idea. Easier to use and easier to make those good choices.
So for our listener who's thinking about buying a Magic Bullet, it sounds like it could be great, but you got to be realistic about what it can do.
Totally agree. It's a tool, and like any tool, it's got limitations. You got to know what those are and how they fit with what you need.
It's not going to magically solve all your problems in the kitchen.
Right. But if you go in with the right expectations, it could be a really great purchase.
But if you're looking for a blender that can handle anything, you might want to invest in something else.
Yeah, something more powerful.
All right. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, What do you think is behind the Magic Bullet's staying power? Is it just marketing, or is it a real need for a simple blender like this?
I think it's a bit of everything. Good marketing, a genuine need, maybe even some nostalgia for those old infomercials.
It definitely has that nostalgic feel, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think the Magic Bullet really captured our imagination.
Hey.
You know, it promised us a faster, easier way to eat healthy. And for a lot of people, it delivered on that promise.
Yeah, it did. Whether it's a fad, a cultural phenomenon, or just a well-designed product, the Magic Bullet has definitely resonated with people.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
All right, well, for our listener who's still on the fence about the Magic Bullet, hopefully this deep dive has given you the info you need to make a decision.
Absolutely. Do your research, know what you need, and choose the right blender for you.
It's all about the right tool for the job. Happy blending, everyone!